Revs coming up. We're green.
Big move coming off the 3.
2, 3, 4 abreast in some spots.
Side-by-side action.
He absolutely nailed it.
Three-way battle.
And we've got an incident. You would expect nothing less.
Clips the inside apex.
Very racy. This is going to get into
side. That is a brave move. What a pass. This is what World Challenge is all about.
Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, a track that is immensely challenging and enjoyable to drive, is now the site of the Pirelli World Challenge, the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio, presented by Stop Tech Brakes, Touring Car and Touring Car B-Spec rounds 9 and 10, and we'll also have rounds 11 and 12 of our GT and GTS classes as well. And the touring cars making their way out. We're going to have a look at some highlights from the action that they put on Calvin Fish. This is a track that drivers thoroughly enjoy performing on, isn't it?
Well, it's a wonderful circuit, Greg. It has a variety of corners. It has some slow speed stuff that you have to be very patient in. It has high speed where you really have to commit.
Let's take a look at our Moat Tool Pole Award winners in the Touring Car B-Spec class. Points leader number 98, Ernie Francis Jr. at a 1:48.380. Great lap for pole. And in Touring Car, continuing his turn of great speed, Michael Cooper, your defending series champion in his Mazda Speed 3, coming at us from Atlanta Motorsports Group at a 1:33.933. So those are you true pole award winners. Here are the highlights from that race. And at the start, Michael Cooper getting a good start. However, you see Tristan Herbert right there tucked behind him. You could barely see him in that red and black VW. Herbert slotting into second, and John Miller, a nice move around the outside, almost up into fourth.
He looks to the outside. We see a bunch of the Compass 360 machines there, led by Brett Sandberg. Winchester, the points leader there, drops to 6.
Now back in the Touring Car B-Spec class, look at this close action. That's Ernie Francis, that's Peter Schwartzide who qualified second, and Lipperini pops to the outside. Cal, great pass.
It was awesome. We talked about that turn. Turn 4, you can run side by side, and it gives you the inside line for that next corner.
Great racecraft from Joel Lipperini, two-time national champion in the runoffs here. There's a look at the number 14 Kia. That is the Forte Coupe that is running in Touring Car. Nick Janssen busy this weekend.
He is. He's pulling double duty, and of course he's won championships before with that Kia Coupe.
And look at this move, Ryan Winchester able to pick up a spot. Remember, he's the point leader, so any pass he made was going to be huge in terms of those points. That was a good one, but this, a brilliant run. What a run off of the keel for Tristan Herbert.
Wow, he just got a tremendous launch there. I'm not sure if there's a little bobble on the behalf of Mike Cooper, but certainly Tristan Herbert, a power move there down the back straightaway, and then see him eat up the TCB cars in terms of straightaway speed headed down into turn 4.
Yeah, I was able to use those cars a little bit. Right there for a moment, one of the TCB, the Fiat, getting a little bit wide. That had Tristan a little bit concerned, but was able to clear it without any issues. Meanwhile, Ryan Winchester coming up on the back of Nick Janssen, and it doesn't get much closer than this, Cal.
It doesn't, and this is really tight quarters, of course. Nick just kind of making a guest appearance here today, going up against the championship leader. Then they head up into the keyhole.
And right there, you saw Winchester just a little bit too much pace into the keyhole, and the back end stepped out. Janssen nowhere to go. That was a huge moment in terms of points. And look at Mike Cooper, waiting, now.
Wow, that was a bit of a strange move there. I thought Herbert was going to take the apex away. Maybe he was struggling a little bit, and we couldn't see it from outside of the race car, but Cooper certainly takes advantage right there.
And Ernie Francis Jr., as he comes back up on Joe Lipperini after that great move early by Lipperini, Ernie gets to the inside, and his dad, Cal, gets up behind him to give him a little bit of an arrow push.
Yeah, and that's certainly significant with the horsepower that these cars have down this long back straightaway. But Lipperini, that was a brilliant move he put at the start of this race. Still trying to hang on there. Now he's in the thick of the action there, fighting to stay on that podium today.
That's right. That is Ernie Francis Sr. and Joel, a little bit of argy-bargy. And look at this big move. Tyler Palmer, the young rookie in the Mini, all 4 wheels inside the curb. Joel didn't realize he was there. But as the checker flies, Mike Cooper puts up his 3rd win in a row, considering his doubleheader win at Toronto. Fantastic day for him. Great return to the championship for Tristan Herbert with a solid 2nd. And here is the finish in Touring Car B-Spec as it unfolded. The 2 Francises, father and son, just in front of him, and Lipperini in 3rd, completing that podium. So let's take a look at the results in Touring Car. Cooper, Herbert, Sandberg, top of the Compass 360 cars, and Ryan Winchester back in 5th. That compresses everything just a little bit. And you'll notice in that top group, no Nick Janssen. There he is, 12th. Big surprise, mechanical. This poor guy, it seems like he touches a car, something happens this year.
And in Touring Car B, well, it's Ernie Francis Jr. narrowly pipping his dad, but look at Robbie Davis. Came into this race 2nd in points. He's only 3 seconds behind the leader, but that puts him 7th on the road. The depth of this field is tremendous this year.
Yeah, huge number of entries. That is impressive. We've got highlights from the second of the doubleheader races, which is round 10 of the championship, coming up when we come back to Mid-Ohio. Welcome back, everybody. Beautiful day here at the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio, presented by Stop Tech Brakes, and we are set up for some highlights going to be coming your way. Our Motu Pole Award winner in Touring Car B for this race is number 98, Ernie Francis Jr., who finished first in race 1. Again, finishing order determines start order in the second of the doubleheaders, and that means in the Motu Pole Award for Touring Car, Michael Cooper, who won his third straight race in that first race just a few minutes earlier. Now we go to the highlights here of this second of the doubleheaders, and again, Mike Cooper getting the launch, but look at that, 5 abreast in the Touring Car, 6 abreast in the back in Touring Car B spec. Crazy enough in Touring Car, but watch what happens in Touring Car B.
Look at this, Liparini down to the inside. He gets nudged by Ernie Francis Sr., which then tips Ernie Francis Jr. into China Beach.
And as a result, a couple of exchanges up front, but this was the incident that wouldn't stop. You had the number 32 of Jonathan Baker, the 32 Racing Honda Fit, involved, and there's the 66 of PJ Gronke. But this is the story. Points leader in the category, young Ernie Francis Jr., buried in China Beach. He was going to sit there for some time. A little bit later on, Jim Cleveland, who somehow searches for the roof of that car, that time didn't go over. It has been an unbelievable season for him, and all of that bringing out a full course caution. And Cal, as a result, here's a replay of that schmozzle.
Yeah, you see there, Ernie Francis Jr. gets into the back of Liparini. Ernie Francis Jr. goes for a ride. Watch this, Robbie Davis from deep in the pack. That is for the lead.
Unbelievable. Tyler Palmer went evasive and just couldn't gather it up enough. We got back to green. Michael Cooper, as always, into the lead. Look at Tristan Herbert there in the VW. Look at Remo Rashidi going inside, then outside, trying to get around Ryan Winchester. He couldn't quite get it done. Herbert, though, struggling into the keyhole, Cal.
Yeah, we saw it in the first race here today down at the end of the back straightaway. I'm not sure if he's fumbling around in the car a little bit, maybe with a transmission. Cannot get the car turned in. We saw Cooper take advantage in race 1 here, and Winchester does the same up in the keyhole.
Now that VW pretty good in a straight line, but Winchester was able to hang on. More fraud action as those Touring Car leaders a bit later on were working their way through the Touring Car B-Spec pack. And right there you see Tristan Herbert trying to get around, boom, got parked a little bit by Capaldi, and that really hurt him. It cost him a lot of time up to Winchester, and up front Cooper was able to get through fairly clean. He comes through that section, in through the carousel and onto the front straight, and is going to bring home the win. Now you'll notice Dave Alejandro in that green TCB car. Going to be an interesting moment here coming up as the TCB leaders. Davis a little wide, trying to get it turned down. He floats wide still. Palmer on the gas. Davis off track, almost getting in to Alejandro. They both survive, and Davis somehow, Cal, able to keep it on track and bring home a win. Important for him with Ernie Davis Jr. in the gravel.
Absolutely. He's trying to take advantage of Ernie Francis Jr.'s problems, but here we see the results. Cooper on top. Winchester continues to keep grabbing those podiums. Herbert hangs on for another podium here today as well.
And in B-Spec, there's Davis with that win over the rookie Palmer. Great story for him. Dave Rosenblum in his Ford Fiesta, the Leos and Tommy's menswear entry. Great to have him back on a podium in Pirelli World Challenge competition. So as you take a look at our Touring Car drivers' points presented by Volvo after 10 of 14, Winchester holding on and stretching that margin over Sandberg, the Compass 360 boys, top 3. Manufacturer points after 10 of 14, Honda stretching that margin. Of course, Kia only running a few of the races. Touring Car B-Spec, it's interesting.
Well, as we look at the Touring Car B driver points presented by Kia, Ernie Francis Jr. now has just a 2-point lead with Robbie Davis getting the victory here today, and Ernie Francis losing 3 laps stuck in that gravel track.
Yeah, and Liparini is making himself known there as well. There you go, the celebrations for the Touring Car podium. GTS and GT Race 1 highlights coming up. And there is an amazing looking field of GT and GTS machinery here at the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio, presented by Stop Tech Brakes. About to have highlights from the first of the doubleheader that unfolded here, round 11 of the championship. Some great news recently being announced, Cal, by the series. European spec GT3 cars will be allowed with FIA Aero. That's a great bit of news.
Well, when you look at the flavor of this grid right now, Greg, it is certainly enticing, and if we add more cars from Europe and some of the really exotic machinery, it's going to be fantastic. Obviously, they have to be performance balanced, but it's certainly exciting times.
In our pole awards for the Motul Pole Award in GTS for this race, it was Nick Janssen, the number 36, DonorsChoose.org, Kia Optima, and in fact, in all Kia front row. In GT and all Volvo front row, the Motul Pole Award going to the number 9 of Alex Figge in the K-Pax Volvo with Popes alongside. Figge always runs incredibly well here. And as we go back and take a look at the highlights, at the start, he was able to get the jump. This is where he wanted to get his season back on track. He did it with a great qualifying run. Pope's going protective. Look at O'Connell down to the inside, but that Cadillac that actually is third right now, Jordan Taylor joining as a third driver. He was impressive in his debut with Cadillac right here last year, but as O'Connell came up alongside, you know Jordan was going to say, after you, and
yes,
did a brilliant job, didn't he?
Johnny was certainly pushing it too. You can see him a little sliding there coming off a turn 5. Then we see the Kias out front, certainly been really strong in practice and qualifying so far this weekend, trying to turn it into a race win. But before they could get there, look at this. Mark Wilkins took a knock there from our leader in GT. As Figge is coming through.
Yeah, Figge said that was the only incident of any kind that I had during the race. Brad Adams on form in his...
Greg, that would be the Voodoo Dat Dog Yo MTV Wraps Ford Mustang.
Yeah, looking real strong. And of course, Petey Cunningham and Nick Kasayan, they were looking forward to coming to Mid-Ohio, a track those real-time Acuras always excel on. Right here, though, it was Andy Lee able to sneak underneath Nick Kasayan, pick that spot up. And up front, the battling continued in GT. There again, Jordan Taylor, and he had Mike Skeen in that black and white Hawk Performance Corvette all over him. They run up on the back of Adams, and that was Taylor got caught out, Skeen jumping on it.
Yeah, he did. I mean, certainly Mike Skeen has more experience with the traffic here in this category, but Jordan there lets the position get away. The Kias, however, up front look dominant today.
And however, look closely, you see a little bit of smoke from the back of Nick Janssen's car. It got bad enough he had to pull over and just let Wilkins through.
You'd have to think that he was going to maybe let Mark by the end of this race in terms of the point scenario, but didn't have to make that happen. There were problems once again. Poor Nick Janssen. What a season he is having. Great speed, but can't seem to get it home right now.
And one of the great moments in the race, this pass by James Safronis around the outside of Popes.
Wow, what a powerful move. And that is knowing your race car, taking it in there that deep, knowing you're going to get the grip mid part of the apex and pull the corner off.
Big moment here, Bill Ziegler in the Swisher Racing Global Motorsports Group Audi, coming up at the exit of the ultra-fast left-hand turn 11, just getting it wrong. Fortunately, stayed on the grass, didn't drift across. Bad last few moments in this race for Audis in general. Duncan Indy, the Merchant Services Stand.org entry, having a punctured right rear. And then this moment between a couple of Audis as well, Cal.
Yeah, Courtney goes down to the inside, looks for the gap. It's not quite there, gets turned. No real damage, but loses the position to Alex Welch.
Yeah, Welch, a big wiggle, but was able to continue. Close quarters racing. And for Nick Janssen, he was hanging on in second, and finally it gave up the ghost. He just was able to limp it down in pit lane. A season to forget so far for Nick. But for Alex Figge, maybe a season reborn. Out of the carousel, onto the front straight. The K-Pax Volvo on the gas, coming up to the line. Finally getting back not only on the podium, but to the top step. For Alex Figge, a dominant ride here. And for Mark Wilkins, huge points implications as Jack Baldwin, the guy who's leading in the points, could only qualify 6th and finished well behind Wilkins. Great day for the Kias, particularly for Wilkins.
Absolutely. Baldwin off that podium. That is a big move there.
Let's take a look at our official results. Figge, O'Connell, and Safronis. So the points battlers, Safronis finishing behind O'Connell. Again, that's going to open that gap up a little bit. Concerns for Safronis there. You take a look at the rest of the order in GT. GTS?
Well, it's Mark Wilkins, his second win of the year, following up on the Detroit victory. Petey Cunningham, great to see him back on the podium. Oceanback, always strong. Jack Baldwin, though, off the podium. We haven't seen that too often this season, and that's why he's leading the points still.
Yeah, rare for him to be that far back for sure. Just didn't have the outright speed here at Mid-Ohio this weekend. You can see a huge field in GTS all the way back to 26th. When we come back, full coverage of our featured race, the GT/GTS 12th round of the championship here at the Honda Indy 200. A huge crowd here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio, presented by Stop Tech Brakes. Parking lots are full, camping areas are packed, hillsides jam. It is going to be something to behold as the 12th round of the GT and GTS championship unfolds here. It's time for our Motul race analysis, and we've got a lot to talk about. This one is going to be fascinating, I think. First of all, a huge field, Cal.
Beautiful field here this weekend, Greg. 39 cars will see the green light here this afternoon. Weather is pretty cool for this time of year. Kind of a surprise there. Fantastic race courses. We know 13 turns, very challenging. There you see the lap records held by Figge and Janssen set in the race here yesterday.
And they were flying, so this is going to be really fun to watch. There is a look at the front of the grid. Alex Figge, his second consecutive pole, going for another win. Again, all Volvos in the front row of GT, all Kias in the front row of GTS. And you can see, looking at some of our key players here in the championship, and that's really the story for our Pirelli storylines. The driver championships in GTS, Lawson Aschenbach, this guy sitting in third and closing. Mark Wilkins winning yesterday, that helped him a lot. And of course the point leader, Jack Baldwin, but struggling here a little bit on raw speed in Mid-Ohio in that Porsche Cayman. And then Sofronis, having lost that points lead at Toronto, wants to do whatever he can today to try and keep it close to this guy. Johnny O is going for his second straight championship.
Yeah, and I think James has just got to keep pushing hard like he did here yesterday. That fantastic move he made on Popes, he's got to do that for the remainder of this championship season. He can't leave anything on the table now.
And he certainly is capable. I think we're in for a great run to the finish of this championship season. Our Motul Pole Awards, as we said, the number 36 Kia Optum of Nick Janssen on the pole, a new track record at 128.680. That's the DonorsChoose.org machine. And on your GT pole for the second straight day as well, number 9, the Capex Volvo. That is Alex Figge. And tell you what, he just seems to find it when he comes here, and of course the car works very well here. Speaking of cars that work well, we've got to say a huge thanks to our partners at Cadillac and the beautiful Cadillac CTSV pace car that will lead this field around as we bring them around again today now for the traditional standing start. Oh, that is a sound we love. All of the different instruments in this symphony, they fire up and bring it to life. And we are set to go. Let's take a look at our starting lineup. Up front, as we said, Alex Figge and Randy Pope sweeping the front row once again for the Capex Racing Volvo team. We move to row number 2. James Sofronis out-qualifying Johnny O'Connell in the points battle here. Sofronis in his Global Motorsports Group Audi, Johnny in the Cadillac CTSVR. Row 3, Jordan Taylor, another great qualifying run in the number 5 Cadillac with Duncan Indy showing some good speed in his Stand Org Merchant Services Audi. In row number 4, the third of the Cadillacs, Andy Pilgrim in the number 8 entry, and Mike Skeen in that Hawk Performance CRP Racing Corvette. Row number 5, it's Alex Welch in the Spider Lasso GMG Audi, and Jeff Courtney in his Kendo Wreck Stuff Audi R8 LMS. And as we go to row number 6, it's Bill Ziegler in the Swisher Racing GMG Audi R8 LMS, and Fred Roberts in the Direct Energy Home Services SRT Dodge Viper Competition Coupe, and Dave Roberts completes the GT field in the Nissan GTR, the Hawk Brake entry. Cal?
GTS, well, Nick Janssen leads an all-Kia sweep of the front row based on time set here yesterday. Mark Wilkins in the thick of that championship battle after another win. Next row, we've got Lawson Aschenbach leading the Chevy Camaro brigade with the Black Dog Speed Shop Chevy Camaro, and our championship leader still, Jack Baldwin in the Porsche Cayman S. Then it's Petey Cunningham looking for a great run here today. Podium yesterday, good to see him back on form alongside Andy Lee in the Best IT Chevy Camaro. Then it's Nick Asayan in the second of the Real-Time Racing Acuras alongside Alec Udell in the Motorsport Development Group Mustang Boss 302R. On row 13 is Mark Glennon in the first of the Aston Martin Vantage GT4s alongside rookie Lucas Catania in the Porsche Cayman S. Next up, Drew Regitz, our rookie, in another Aston Martin alongside Craig Capaldi in the Capaldi Racing Boss 302S. Then it's Brad Adams in the Voodoo Dad Dog Yo MTV Raps Ford Mustang, and Eric Davis in the always evolving performance Boss 302. Next up, Dominic Stuck in the Audi TT RS from the ARC Audi Racing Program, and Tony Gables in the second of the Black Dog Speed Shop Racing Chevy Camaros. Row 17, Roger Rodas lines up alongside Mitch Landry with a pair of Mustangs. And row 18, we have Brian Kleeman in the first of the Nissan 370Zs alongside Artie Topi in the Capaldi Racing Ford Mustang Boss 302S. Row 19, Joseph Catania in the Porsche Cayman S from CR Motorsports alongside Jack Baldwin's teammate Buzz McCall in another Porsche Cayman. On row 20, we have a pair of gamers from the Nissan GT Academy as Steve Doherty lines up against Lucas Ordonez in Nissan 370Zs. And on the final row of the grid is Jim Taggart in the Lotus Exige S, and Robert Stout, who continues to develop the Scion FRS for Ken Stout Racing.
And we take a look there, the Cadillac Escalade, our official safety vehicle from one of our great partners, Cadillac. Great to have the vehicle with us, obviously. A couple of safety specialists on board. Bob Thompson and Dick Lubatina are the response people right there. Great to have them here, but we hope when the race starts, they just get to kick back and have a great view from probably the most comfortable seats in the house inside that Cadillac Escalade. So we are about ready to go. The grid is established. It is set. We are ready to go racing. And again, Alex Figge looking to do the double if he at all possibly can and keep this resurgent for his season on track as we get ready to go racing. We'll be right back for the standing start in Mid-Ohio. Getting ready to unleash this huge field of GT and GTS competitors for the 12th round of the Classes Championship and the Pirelli World Challenge. Cal, let's take a look at our GoPro Quad Box presented by Kia.
We're going to be in the thick of the action here today. We're on board with Artie. Topi will start 21st in GTS with his Ford Mustang. Brad Adams will line up 13th in GTS. Then we've got Bill Ziegler in the Swisher Racing Audi R8 who qualified 12th. And Alex Welsh in the Spider Lasso Audi R8. He'll line up 9th today.
There's a look at the field. Man, this is going to be fantastic. Watch for that green flag to fly at the back. You see the official? There goes the Kathy Malik has the board ready. She needs to see that green flag. There it is. The 5-second board will show. When the lights go out, we go racing for round 12. There it is. The 5-second board. Revs are starting to come up. You can see the heat coming off of the cars. There, the wheeling lights are on. We're ready to go racing. We are racing. Oh, and a great start by Figge, but nowhere for Post.
Post, he launched and then almost stalled. Then we see drama here in the middle of the pack. We're on board with Artie Topi. He's turned around. That is not race direction we're looking at.
Boy, a number of cars having issues. One of them, the number 53. That is a huge blow for Lucas Ordonez, one of our GT Academy drivers, but everybody, I think, for the most part, able to get righted and going again. But look at the lead that Figge has. He is gone.
O'Connell had to take evasive action around Post, I think it was, and then we see James Safronis has taken advantage of this. He's all the way up to second, now under attack from Post.
Yeah, this is huge for Safronis. One, keep Post behind him because behind Post is Johnny O'Connell. That's the guy that Safronis needs to finish in front of in this championship today, in this race today, in other words, to be able to stem that flow in terms of championship points. Great launch by Safronis, but can he stay there? We know this car takes a while to get the temperature in the tires, therefore the pressure's up.
Look at Alex Figge. He has disappeared. He's in a different zip code right now. Brilliant start, great first lap. He has left these guys for dead.
Unbelievable watching Safronis, then Post in the Volvo, then the two Cadillacs, then Mike Skeen in that black and white Hawk Performance Corvette, and Nick Janssen, problems again. He's got smoke again, Cal.
That's our pole sitter in GTS. Had drama here yesterday whilst leading.
Oh, look at that plume of smoke down at the bottom of the S's.
They've been having some CV joint issues with that car, maybe as a repeat of that, but just unbelievable the bad luck that Nick Janssen has had this year.
We were on board with Lawson Aschenbach, and that was the move for the lead. And just in the background, I saw Jack Baldwin clearly getting a great launch up into second now with Janssen's issues. That's important for him. Meanwhile, back to this great grouping here, and Mike Skeen starting to reel in one of the Cadillacs.
Those Volvos are looking awfully tough, though. They now run 1-2. Popes is up to second. On board with Skeen, diving down the inside on Andy Pilgrim, who's one of the latest of the breakers here in the field. That is a great move by Mike Skeen there, taking that position from Andy Pilgrim.
Boy, is he putting those Hawk brakes to good use, just dynamiting them down in there.
Jordan Taylor looking to the inside.
Very close as well. Let's go back and take another look at that standing start. This is the Optima Battery's best standing start. Look at Stout, with everybody having their issues. He went to the inside there in the wall and just launched in that black and red Scion FRS, and he ends up with our Optima Battery's best standing start award.
Well, he's got all the talent in the world, Greg, but they're just continuing to try and develop that Scion FRS and get it up to speed.
Yeah, very much a development program on that car, and they're doing some amazing things to it, but stuff that nobody else is doing. That steepens up that learning curve. Meanwhile, back up to the battle for second, Safronis, O'Connell, then that black and white Corvette of Skeen, then Andy Pilgrim, then Duncan Indy, as we are on board with our leader, and at this point, a runaway leader, Cal.
Yes, he's just taken off right here, and this is like a golfer who has repeated success at a particular venue. Mid-Ohio suits Alex's eye. He just loves this place. He repeatedly has great performances here.
This is the battle in GTS. Losh and Aschenbach leading. Look at Nick Asayan having one of his best runs of the season. A fighting six right now, actually showing the nose to Andy Lee. These real-time Acuras are very, very strong here in Mid-Ohio.
They're
Always
strong
have been.
here, Greg, and there's been some adjustments here to some of the other cars since the last round at Toronto. These Chevy Camaros have got a smaller restrictor. The Kias have lost some boost. They actually lost more boost overnight after the win for Wilkins here yesterday. And even the Cayman has got a little bit of weight on that. Maybe that's why we're seeing Jack qualify where he did here this weekend. End result is the Acura should be a bit more competitive now.
Absolutely. There is Safronis as he continues to lead away, and that battle for second with O'Connell right behind him.
And this is the GT Championship right here, Greg. These guys are very tight in points. They are the two main protagonists.
This is really on display here. Leading, though, overall and in GT, it is Alex Figge, and in GTS, Lawson Aschenbach. We'll be right back. Our pole sitter, Alex Figge, continues to lead here at the Honda Indy 200 in Mid-Ohio, presented by Stop Tech Brakes. His teammate in the second Volvo right there runs second. That is Randy Popes. And then here is the scrap now between James Safronis and Johnny O'Connell at Mid-Ohio. We talked about it going to break. This is key for the championship here. And Mike Skeen, he's looking to be a spoiler.
He certainly is, but look at Safronis. The braking ability of the Audi R8 is superb. He can really take in deep on the brakes. Johnny comes back at him a little bit on the run up to 5. So this is going to be a fascinating battle to watch the strengths of the various cars here in the pack. There's a real symmetry to it here. You got Audi, Caddy, then the Corvette, then another Caddy, then another Audi.
The problem for these guys is up front, you've got two Volvos that just seem to be absolutely hooked up here this weekend.
But I think you're going to get it over the course of a championship season, Greg. Some of these cars will be better suited to particular venues. You just can't get away from that. You'd like to have the cars' performance balanced where they race hard against each other every weekend, but certain tracks will suit others. Certainly for the Kia, it's been very strong here with the long back straightaway. But right now we can see here a great battle going on as Wilkins is starting to put the pressure on Aschenbach.
Boy, and this is the championship inverted, isn't it, in GTS? Aschenbach third, Wilkins second, and Baldwin first in the championship, and they run exactly the opposite right now on the track. So that's going to be interesting to see just how that unfolds in the championship as we hop on board with that number 11 Black Dog Speed Shop Camaro. And what a job this team has done their first season in GTS, their first season running Camaros.
Yeah, Mark Weider is engineering this car for Lawson. He's a good buddy of mine. We ran against each other back in the Indy Lights days back in the late 80s, but he's got a lot of experience. Great guy, and he and Lawson are really starting to gel well.
Oh boy, look at that. Johnny O'Connell starting to look racy, starting to show the nose to James Safronis. James obviously watching the mirrors as we hop on board now with Mike Skeen in that Hawk Performance Corvette. And look at this, a little bit of lap traffic. Safronis moving over. O'Connell was thinking I can get through, and Safronis covered it. And now Skeen going to try the outside, Kel. That's tough to do in turn 1.
It is. I don't think Johnny's going to give that to him. That was really tight quarters there. Looked like there's a bit of paint that traded, possibly coming through the carousel corners there. Look at there, there's some damage to the front end of Johnny O's car. Skeen trying to put the pressure on. He's trying to get to the inside of him there, coming off the keyhole. Skeen looking to make the move on O'Connell. Connell tries to respond.
Boy, and that's one of those Autotopia cars that he's trying to get by. And Duncan Indy showing smoke from the left rear corner. That looks like it may be bodywork down on that tire, but this is fraught racing. And again, O'Connell showing the nose to Safronis. And Safronis fortunately had that car right now, the Versacrane entry, the GTS machine of Mitch Landry, to use a little bit as a pick. Again, O'Connell trying to get underneath him and just rattle him down into the bottom of the S's and entering madness.
Well, I think O'Connell's car has been working a little bit better through this section of the racetrack. Safronis has the track position now. He's doing a great job of remaining calm, hitting his marks. He knows it's going to be tough unless he makes a mistake through this section for Johnny O to make that move. And James is very strong under braking, so that's where he has the advantage. But right now, O'Connell looks hooked up. We'll have to look at that damage, though.
Yeah, I wonder if that happened when they went down that front straight. They got awfully close together.
Right in this corner they're coming up to now. There's a little bit of a stack up with that Porsche.
Meanwhile, there goes Randy Popes running second, getting through some traffic. Here comes Safronis in third, chased by O'Connell. Skeen, nice job there. I think that's Eric Davis just moving out of the way beautifully, letting all of this GT traffic slot through. Oh, that was
Taylor, I think. Jordan Taylor just clipping that piece of bodywork there as he went around some GTS traffic.
And that Smokes has stopped now from the back of Duncan Indy's car, so that piece of bodywork either broke or got popped back off of the tire, as we're on board with Jack Baldwin sitting third in this Motul Stop Tech Porsche Cayman.
Well, Aschenbach continues to lead. You can see him up ahead there. Wilkins running in second. Now that Kia got a reduction of £1 last week and another £1 in boost overnight. So we'll have to see how that has an effect on the race car during the course of this race today, because straightaway speed has been its advantage. That should pick it back a little bit.
Boy, and you see all of that junk on Baldwin's windshield. That's something that's come off of another car. It may have been when he was behind Nick Janssen, perhaps, and it may be left over from that. Hopefully that's the case and not off of one of the cars that's currently in front of him. Petey Cunningham right there in fourth. Andy Lee in that yellow Crown 7 Bondurant Camaro. And then, of course, Nick Asayan, as I said, having a solid run. Back to this great scrap for his third in GT. Yeah, Nick Asayan, great to see him on the pace here today. So certainly those changes are helping the Acras. They're looking very strong here today. Here's one of the Aston Martins. We're on board with James Safronis. It's a 62 machine. Yeah, what a great story for these guys. Mark Clennon, Andrew Regeets, the two guys making the switch from the older BMWs, and they immediately both turned in their best qualifying efforts of the season. The new equipment really helping them. Well, that Aston Martin Vantage GT4 is a beautiful race car. TRG, one of the best prep shops in the business. Look at this. Duncan Indy looking to the inside there on Pilgrim. Up into the brake zone for turn 2 in the keyhole. Can he get the launch coming off? No. Pilgrim gets the power down. Here comes Jordan Taylor on Duncan Indy. Yeah, Jordan got a great run out of the keyhole, but again, now coming up on GTS traffic, that's Brad Adams in that Yo MTV Wraps machine. Now look at Taylor, but right in front. Look at this move. Pilgrim trying to get down underneath. That is the number 2, Mike Skeen. Couldn't quite get it done. So your leaders, top 4 in GT, Figge, Pope, Safronis, and O'Connell. And in GTS, Aschenbach, Wilkins, Baldwin, and Cunningham. We'll be right back. It's the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio, presented by Stop Tech Brakes, today featuring the Pirelli World Challenge GT and GTS Round 12 of the championship. And Jordan Taylor has pulled off. Not exactly sure why, but we just got a report during the break that he had pulled off. He's in one of those access roads. But the bigger story, Johnny O is out. Wow. And Calvin, they are looking at the front end of that car. You wonder if that damage, something didn't get pierced. Yeah, well, he ran into the back of Jimmy Safronis there when they came up on some traffic coming through the carousel, but the damage had been there for several laps. We didn't see any smoke or any water pouring out of it, but something's amiss, and that is huge in the points, as we know. Safronis close to him now. There may be a change at the top tonight. Yeah, you wonder if something maybe broke loose finally and got in there. Great move there by Craig Capaldi, that Wolverine Bronze machine, and that's a big story. They had a huge wreck, if you were watching our coverage in Detroit, and it took them a long time to get that car rebuilt. They have showed up here, and he has been running very, very well, so congratulations to him. And of course, now coming up through this battle is our overall leader, Alex Figge, and boy, you need to be careful. Yeah, it was close, and now he's coming up into a section that can really bottle you up, and that's what happens. He's up alongside the number 52, but he can't get by. Oh, Cal, he could be losing huge chunks of time here. Well, his teammate Popes is not that far behind. He got very close to him. I think he got gapped a little bit by dealing with traffic, but Figge knows you can't hang around too long and be too patient. However, you can't move the guy out of the way. So, looks like the gap has stayed about the same, so I think Popes was equally frustrated by that traffic there through the carousel. Lawson Aschenbach continues to lead here in GTS, as in fact opened up the margin just a little bit over Mark Wilkins in the Kia, then Jack Baldwin in that Porsche. But that yellow car right behind him today carrying our iBox suspension cam, what a great view. Yeah, this is superb. Look at the suspension doing its work there with the trailing arms. You see the axle spinning there. And the team has really done a great job for Andy Lee this year. He's really been the pole maestro, had so many pole positions this year. A lot of speed, been a victory lane as well. And just a really good young driver, but this team has been working well, getting this IBAC suspension working to the max, particularly over these elevation changes here at Mid-Ohio. Yeah, he has been wicked quick, no question of that. He's been fun to watch. As we're going to give you some more information about some social media opportunities. World-Challenge.com, we mentioned it, for all the latest news and views on the Pirelli World Challenge. Give it a look, great information. Or World-ChallengeTV.com. There you can check out cool in-car video, driver interviews, watch this complete race, and any and all other Pirelli World Challenge races that are archived online there. And of course, the presence on Twitter. Join the World Challenge Twitter account at twitter.com/WC Racing. Receive instant updates on race weekends from the series. Look at this, Greg. This is really heating up. This is the battle for the podium spots in GTS. Wilkins feeling the heat from Jack Baldwin. Petey Cunningham looked like he was showing his oats there. He wanted the way around the outside of Jack Baldwin, and Andy Lee just hovering there. Looks like he may have some speed to unleash as well. You know, race car drivers are by nature greedy, aren't they? And Petey Cunningham had that second place yesterday. He wants another taste of the podium. It's been a while. And, of course, this battle, Baldwin and Wilkins, that's all about points. And the one thing I've noticed...
Wilkins in there deep. He's in there deep.
Well,
he just can't seem to get that car to turn, and problem with that Kia is you can burn off those front tires if you push it too much in the early going.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, is look at Petey Cunningham. When Baldwin tried to make that move, couldn't get by, lost his momentum, and Petey coming by, Baldwin going to try and stay with him around the outside, down through turn number 3.
Two veterans here, you can't go side by side, but if Petey really pushes it in deep, you're going to take away a bit of the road. That's what he did. It's go time.
And of course that bit of side-by-side has given Wilkins a little bit of breathing room, but what I was going to get at was the weak point of these Kias has been using up those tires with that boost reduction. Maybe they're just having to overdrive in the corners and it's chewing it up, and look at this, Figge leads, but Randy Pobst is coming. Randy is closing it up. He is throwing down some very impressive laps right now. So we've got some serious racing afoot here at Mid-Ohio. Leading in GT and overall remains Figge, and in GTS, Aschenbach by a bit. The game is afoot here in GT at the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio, presented by Stop Tech Brakes. Randy Pobst has reeled in teammate and leader Alex Figge, and they are now separated by car lengths coming out of turn 1, Cal.
Yeah, it's getting really tight there for the lead, and Pobst is starting to heap the pressure on. Here we're on board with Andy Lee. He's got separated by that pack by a little bit, by the 09 car.
Yeah, that's Steve Daugherty, one of our Nissan GT Academy, all part of the Nismo Global Driver Exchange program. Great to have them here. Classic move there, letting him through and knowing that he's part of this battle up here. But now Andy's got to do some catch-up.
Yeah, and those gamers have really shown a tremendous turn of speed when they turn it to track racing. Lucas Ordonez, we've seen at Le Mans in many of the big races and had great success. Brian Hotcutter has done great stuff as well.
Yeah, and this gentleman, Steve Daugherty, most recent winner, 2012 U.S. GT Academy champ. So great to have him here. Wilkins, nice move there on the GTS Porsche. He's able to slide by, and that opened the door up, and a nice bit of driving right there. I think that is Joseph Catania, who just said, okay, I see you guys there. We're going to come through, but now Baldwin, full attack on PD, heading up into the keyhole.
Yeah, he was, and PD knew that he was in a problem there. He immediately kept it all the way right, kicking up dust on the right side of the road. Didn't want to open up that door. He's a canny veteran. That's why he's won 7 of these titles over the years, and he doesn't want to give up that podium spot right now.
Yeah, how great is it to have Petey Cunningham and Jack Baldwin and Randy Pobst all running together in the Pirelli World Challenge, some of the legends in race. Boy, it didn't take long for Andy to run them down, did it?
It didn't, and that's what's great about the series. You talk about the vets there. We've also got 2 of the young guns out there. Mark Wilkes in front of this group right now, and Andy Lee right there as well. Lawson Aschenbach, another great young driver, leading the field right now. Some really bright young talent.
Well, we talk about it being a battle of the brands, but it's also just a tremendous training ground for some, and development ground and proving ground for many. Just phenomenal, the talent that comes through and stays in this championship. It is now considered, I think, one of the elite sports car racing series on the planet, and you can see why. It is special stuff. And these 2 Volvos putting on a great show.
Randy Pobst has just been chiseling away at that lead on Alex Figge. Figge will see him coming now, and he realizes he cannot afford to make one single error. Oh, look at this. This is Cunningham on Wilkins. This is the battle for second right now. Wilkins takes it in really deep there through turn 11, just hanging on barely, it seems.
This is what is so compelling here. You've got these guys racing each other, but you open something up, the guy behind you can come through. Look at this action, Cal.
Wilkins has problems.
Yeah.
Wilkins has problems. You see him coming through the carousel there. I think he's burned the front tires off, Greg. He is pushing out wide. He's got that little bit of speed still, it seems, even with a reduction in boost. They've cut him back a little bit, but he's going to be hanging on now. These guys are all over him.
Well, look at this. Cunningham trying to show the nose, pressure him a little bit down into the keyhole, and he floats wide. Petey diving to the inside. Is it enough? He's there. Now, can Baldwin take advantage as well? Not quite, but Petey was able to get through. Now, watch that Kia start to spool up a little bit. Petey may have to do some serious defense all the way down to the S's.
Well, he'll try and hug the inside like he did to Baldwin the lap previously going up to turn 2, but you can see there the Kia does not just march on by. Yesterday they had about 6-7 miles an hour on the field. Today, maybe a couple, so that boost reduction seems to have done something. And I think what it's done is forced Mark Wilkins to really drive this car a lot harder during the first half of this race, and he just doesn't have the front grip. You can see him there, he's having to wait on the car, otherwise it's just sliding wide on him. Petey's driving away.
Yeah, and every time he has that little bit of a moment, Baldwin has to check up a little bit behind him, and that's almost allowed Lee to get alongside Jack.
See
and
it
here
again.
comes Jack.
See it again right there, turn 9. He's just pushing out wide. He doesn't have the front grip that he had at the very beginning of this race.
Up and into the carousel. Boy, look at Petey get that car to rotate. And Mark, you see it cannot do that. It's just all push. Yeah, exactly.
All you can do is just slow it way down. And all that's going to do is allow those guys behind you to just set you up. So he's got to really manage the back end of this race if he's going to stay on that podium. And most importantly, keep Jack Baldwin, the championship leader, behind him.
And Figgy worried about a teammate in his mirrors. Lots to come here. The top 4 in GT, Figgy, Pope, Safronis, and Skeen. And in GTS, a great battle behind your leader, Lawson Aschenbach, Cunningham, Wilkins, and Baldwin. We'll be back. We are into the last few laps here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Cars for the Honda Indy 200 of Mid-Ohio, presented by Stop Tech Brakes. Round number 12, GT, GTS. Huge battle unfolding between the teammates up front in GT and the battle for the final podium. And there it again, Calvin. Huge moment by Wilkins. Baldwin is through.
He's through, but I think Jack may feel the heat now down this back straightaway. It looked like Jack was being pulled by Petey a little bit. We saw Petey and Mark pretty equal down the back straightaway, but I think Mark should have a bit more speed on him, but I'm not sure how early he was. There he comes. There he comes. Yeah, the Cayman certainly doesn't have the speed of the Acura down the straightaways. It's got this, though. It's got cornering ability, and they got the veteran, Jack Baldwin, the championship leader, behind the wheel. Andy Lee now. Can he take another position away from Mark Wilkins here in the final laps?
Yeah, Baldwin cornering and braking, and he got in there beautifully. And you can see Petey just disappearing up the hill. And you're right, Andy Lee right now is hunting. He looked to the outside. He knows that Wilkins is wounded, and he wants to find something. And here come our overall race-leading duo, the 2 Volvo S60Rs, which are gorgeous-looking cars, by the way, along with being very, very quick, coming up. And this is going to be interesting because these two up front, they're racing for the final podium, or for a potential podium spot. They're not just going to hit the disappear button.
That's
and
right.
Boy, Figgy right now has got a mirror full of Randy Popes. White flag coming up for Figgy as they come up the run here to the finish line.
Yeah, he's just got to be smart here. He's just got to read this traffic. It's very much a chess game at this point. He's got 1 lap to do it. That's good news for him. Mark Wilkins has split he and Randy Popes right now, so that should give Figgy a little bit of breathing room. He'll be looking in the mirrors, looking for where Randy Popes is. He's got GTS traffic up ahead of him. He clears Roadhouse. He's got Baldwin, the championship leader, right in front of him. Pope still a little bit behind. I think Figgy has the breathing room that's needed, but he's still got to keep it clean here on the final lap.
And he gets by. Baldwin moves over to pick up a little bit of a toe, but yeah, that was great the way that Figgy drove that. It did give him that little bit of room. Now he's going to get by Cunningham, and I don't think, or is he? I don't think Popes is going to be close enough to be able to get by Cunningham. Ooh, PD, he does not want to give it up too much because he knows that Baldwin will be all over him in a heartbeat if he loses that momentum. And so now they slot in. Boy, this is just fun watching great pilots working together in different classes here, trying not to impede anybody.
That's exactly right, Greg. Petey Cunningham, he couldn't afford to give up too much time right there. He knows that Baldwin is canny, and if he gets close to him, he'll have a lunge here on the final lap of the race.
Ooh, big plume of smoke, but that's just when you get off the gas with those turbos running so much boost, that's going to happen. And I think Randy Popes was showing some pretty good respect for Petey Cunningham there. They've been around and raced each other for a long time. He didn't over push, and as a result, here comes Figgy. He sweeps the weekend. Boy, talk about getting your season back on track with a double, and Randy Popes the solid 2nd place. Volvo is going 1-2 here in this 12th round of the championship, and Lawson Aschenbach, boy, I tell you, this GTS championship battle, the compression and points coming out of this round is going to be special.
Yeah, and he has just driven away from the pack here. We saw that Wilkins there struggle a bit, may have held up the field a little bit with the front tires on that Kia going away on him, but Lawson did a brilliant job here again today, and he'll get another victory to add to his tally for the year. So this will be his 5th victory as he really crunches the points as well on Baldwin and Wilkins at the end of this one.
Yeah, what a remarkable season for Lawson Aschenbach. So here are our unofficial results. Figgy getting the win, Pope 2nd, Safronis on the podium. That is huge with the problems for O'Connell. Pilgrim and Skeen completing your top 5. And there you see one of the big stories. The story really, Johnny O'Connell outside of the top 10 with a mechanical problem, and also the issue for Jordan Taylor.
Lawson Archenbach, he gets that GTS victory just when he needed it. Peter Cunningham, 2 podium runs here at Mid-Ohio. Great for him and Jack Baldwin. That was significant. Getting around Wilkins for another podium run and gapping him a little bit more in the points.
And as you can see, this huge field of GTS machines. Great to see this number, and of course problems there for Nick Janssen, Robert Stout, and Lucas Ordonez. That's unfortunate, but great to have those Nismo Global Driver Exchange guys racing with us at trackside. Look at the Volvo crew celebrating. Let's take a look at our GT Drivers Points presented by Volvo. 12 of 14 rounds complete. O'Connell, Safronis, it doesn't get much closer than that. Pilgrim, Popst, and Figge. That is huge.
And as we look at the GT manufacturer points, Cadillac almost a lock now with 90 points on the board. Very tight between Audi Sport Customer Racing and Volvo. Just 1 point separating them right now.
Let's take a look at our GTS driver points presented by Volvo. Baldwin leading Wilkins, and of course Lawson Aschenbach joining that pack firmly now. Then Lee and Cunningham back a little bit.
Then we look at the GTS manufacturer points presented by Kia. Chevy on top, healthy lead, almost a lock on the championship. Kia in second, Acura, Ford round out the top 4.
Thanks so much for joining us here at Mid-Ohio. For Calvin Fish and Jeff Lepper, I'm Greg Creamer. Take care.